There's no getting around it. You need a resume to land a job. But if you've been on a career break, one of the biggest frustrations is how to deal with the dreaded resume gap. Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 things that you need to be doing to take your resume gap from dreaded to something that you are proud of. And make sure to stick around because I'm also going to share with you the one thing you should never do. All right, so let's get started. The first one is you need to pick the correct resume layout. There are 3 resume layouts. The first is the chronological resume, and this is by far and away the most common layout. It just takes your work experience and lists it in reverse chronological order. And then there is the functional resume, which puts your skills and abilities front and center. Towards the bottom of the resume, that's where you're going to find the work experience, but it's not going to be really robust. It's more just going to outline dates of employment and positions held rather than go into all of the bulleted point items. And then finally, you have the hybrid resume, which is, as you guessed it, a hybrid between the chronological and the functional resume. So this is where you will lead with the skills and abilities, and then you'll just follow it with the reverse chronological order of your experience. Which one should you use? Well, as a former recruiter, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you to toss out that functional resume. It is confusing to try to figure out what is going on with a functional resume. And if you're going to confuse a recruiter, then you're probably not going to make it to the interviewing stage. So let's just go ahead and toss that one out. So now you're left with a chronological resume or a hybrid resume. If your career break has been months or even several years, just go with the chronological resume. Now, if you've been out of the workforce for, let's say, 10, 15 plus years, at that point, it might be time to look at a hybrid resume. Now, either of these, you're still going to include the fact that you do have a career gap, which is going to bring me to my second point. What do you title your time away? So my advice with this is just to keep it simple and to keep it professional. It can be as simple as career break or family leave or personal sabbatical. Make sure that you are comfortable with it, but it also is professional. Stay away from things such as domestic goddess or stay-at-home CEO. And yes, I have seen those. Just remember that the point of your resume is to give a professional snapshot of who you are. And if you're going to use names such as domestic goddess, that does not come across as professional. It might get a chuckle or two from the recruiters, but that's about it. So make sure to stick with something simple and professional. That leads me to my third point, which is what in the heck do I put in my career gap section? Well, this is actually way simpler than you may think. During your time away, I know that you have had experiences and developed skills and abilities. It's strictly a matter of taking all of that and turning it into something that you can list on your resume. Now, if you're comfortable with it, you can list, just why you took a step away in a very, very brief synopsis as your first bullet point. Something like, intentionally stepped away from the paid workforce to focus on family. Something like that is straight into the point, and if you're comfortable with that, great. Now, what else you should add is actual tangible things that are relatable to the position that you are applying for. But how do I do that if I don't have experience? Well, I've got you covered there. And I'm going to give you some real life examples. If you have any volunteer experience that is applicable, definitely put it there. For example, I volunteer at Dress for Success. I could simply put volunteer at Dress for Success, or I could state volunteer as a Dress for Success career coach, assisting over 50 women to develop and hone their interview and resume writing skills. There you go. I just took something that was pretty bland and boring and gave it context which is applicable to a position. Now, let's say you are a member of an association or an organization. I was a member of Toastmasters. Instead of just saying member of Toastmasters, I could write something such as member of Toastmasters for over 5 years, where I developed public speaking and presentation skills. All of that is applicable to so many positions. It's just a matter of finding those things that you have done and then rewriting them into resume speak per se. And if you are looking for a video on how to do that, I've got you covered there too. You'll find the link in the description below. And don't worry about having a long list of bullet points under your career gap. Just 3 or 4 are great. So now that you know what you should be doing in regards to your career gap on your resume, let's talk about the big thing that you should not do. And that is to use that space to explain the reason for your career gap. There are a lot of people who use this space to say, stepped away from the paid workforce to care for my children who are now 7 and 9, took care of household finances, and made sure that each meal was made from scratch each day. You get the picture, right? It's too much. I don't need to know that. At the end of the day, your resume is showing why you are a fit for a specific position. So make sure everything on your resume is speaking to that. All right, so there you have it. Resume layout, the title of your career break, as well as what to put and not to put in your career break. Now, if you're looking for jobs specifically for people who have taken a career break, you're gonna wanna make sure to check out my video here.